You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Coronavirus infections are rising in 40 of the 50 states. The U.S. set another daily record today with more than 52,000 new cases in one day. And governors from coast to coast are urging people to take precautions and stay home during the traditionally busy 4th of July weekend. Chris Martinez has the latest from Los Angeles.
Coronavirus cases in Florida continue to skyrocket. The state recorded nearly 9,500 new cases over the past 24 hours, its third highest tally since the pandemic started.
It's absolutely the saddest thing, the most unnecessary situation that we're finding ourselves in, and it's behaviorally driven.
A 10 p.m. curfew is now in effect in Miami-Dade, Florida's most populated county. In Texas, face masks are now mandatory in many areas. Hospitals are stretching their ICU capacity.
We're seeing a surge in young people who are really just not paying any regard to the risk of this.
Do we really have to say hashtag don't kill grandma? People have to realize there are consequences to getting infected and spreading it to people who are vulnerable. They can die.
Cases are up nearly 50% here in California over the past 2 weeks. Several cities are fining people who don't wear masks. The state just banned singing or chanting in places of worship, and most beaches are off limits. That's not stopping some from heading into the surf.
I'll take the 98% chance of living my life, and I think a lot of people will.
Major League Baseball announced it's canceling this month's 2020 All-Star Game set for Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles.
The 12-time champion of the world, Joey Chestnut!
And the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest will go on in New York, but with only a third of the normal number of contestants at an undisclosed location and no live audience. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Officials say it will be a few weeks before they know how many people possibly contracted the virus over this holiday weekend. Tonight, Montana has reached more than 400 confirmed active cases of COVID-19. Yellowstone County has the most right now in the state with 105. The state reports 45 new cases today, 3 more people admitted to the hospital. So far, more than 97,500 people have been tested. Well, just a little more than a week after Governor Bullock loosened restrictions on nursing homes in Yellowstone County is now clamping down again on the facilities. There have been COVID cases at 7 senior care facilities in the county. We told you yesterday that a staff member had tested positive at St. John's United. They're now testing all the staff and residents who were in that nursing home building. There have also been cases at Eagle Cliff Manor, Avantra, and Morningside, and that was the reason for today's new health order, which will prohibit visitation at all skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, memory care facilities, and adult group homes.
In the last week, we've seen nearly a dozen COVID-19 positive cases in a number of senior care facilities involving both residents and staff of those facilities. We've been working closely with those impacted facilities on investigation, infection control, and we've recommended that those facilities test all residents and all staff. The people who reside in these facilities represent some of the highest risk, most vulnerable members of our community, and the intent of this order is to supplement the ongoing efforts that our senior care facilities have taken to protect these residents from COVID-19.
The only exception to the order is compassion visitations at the end of life, and face masks would have to be worn. Felton's also recommending that all facilities adopt policies requiring workers, delivery people, and others to wear a face mask at all times in senior facilities. Over in Missoula, the county health officials expect to move forward with some kind of a mask-wearing mandate following a special public meeting next week. Commissioners asked for a requirement that would extend to businesses licensed by the Missoula City County Health Department or the City of Missoula. The Billings Starbucks here at 1017 North 27th Street also temporarily closed for a deep cleaning after a worker indicated potential COVID symptoms. Starbucks reports that all team members at this location have been tested and those tests have come back negative. The employees have been asked to self-isolate as a precautionary measure. No word yet on when the location will reopen. In the same situation in Bozeman at the Starbucks on Main Street, it suddenly closed last Thursday. The company confirmed to us the store closed for a deep cleaning after an employee expressed having symptoms of the coronavirus. Starbucks says it did that deep cleaning out of an abundance of caution. Well, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, now is the time to do so. The annual deadline of April 15th was extended to July 15th. The IRS says the tax filing and payment deadline for individual taxpayers will not automatically be extended, but you can still request an extension if necessary.
Right, so the IRS extended the individual tax deadline to July 15th because of the coronavirus crisis. So people don't need to file any additional extensions if they're going to file by that date. But if you still need extra time, you can file an extension until October 15th.
The extension provides additional time to file the tax return, not an extension to pay any taxes due. Well, it looks like Montana's high-profile U.S. Senate race will add another candidate soon, increasing the total on the November ballot to 4. The Montana Libertarian Party says it plans to name a replacement candidate for Susan Good-Giese, who withdrew last month. Libertarian Party Chairman Sid Dowd of Kalispell says he'll be sending out a notice soon for the party Central Committee to meet and select a new candidate. He says he couldn't do that until the primary election results were certified by the state, which just happened recently. Montana's closely watched U.S. Senate race already has 3 candidates running: incumbent Republican Steve Daines, Democratic Governor Steve Bullock, and Wendy Frederickson, who has entered as a Green Party candidate. Now, Libertarians have never come close to winning a U.S. Senate race in Montana, but they can be a factor in a close race if they pull votes away from another candidate. Law enforcement captured an inmate early this morning who'd escaped from the Montana State Prison over a month ago. Preston Scott Tucker was arrested in a residence in Powell County, about 7 miles from the prison. He escaped the morning of May 30th, according to Powell County Undersheriff Kim Maiku. About 17 officials from the Powell County Sheriff's Office and the Montana State Prison Special Response Team raided the home and captured Tucker without incident. The undersheriff said investigators were acting on a tip from a neighbor who noticed someone on the property and who did not belong there. That home Tucker was found in is owned by someone who hadn't been at the residence for the past 5 years. Tucker was the only one there at the time of the arrest. Tucker's been returned to the prison and more charges are expected to be filed against him. Well, with the 4th of July tomorrow, people are gearing up for the fireworks shows and enjoying the outdoors. This weekend, the Billings Fire Department plans to close the rims from Main Street in the Heights along the south side of Highway 3. This also includes Zimmerman and Phipps Parks. Closures will begin at 6 a.m. tomorrow, July 4th, and remain in effect until the morning of Sunday, July 5th. Those closures include vehicle, bike, and pedestrian access. Fire Department also wants to remind everyone that the Billings, Montana City Code prohibits the sale, use, and possession of fireworks within city limits. Well, due to the pandemic, the community of Livingston lost its rodeo this year, but those who organized that event are not giving up. MTN's Cody Boyer shows us how they're now planning for one of the largest fireworks shows they've ever had.
It was tough to cancel the rodeo. We had to make a tough decision.
When it came to cutting nearly 100 years straight of Livingston rodeo short, Livingston Roundup Association President Bruce Becker says it was a hard but necessary call. But what about the 3 nights of fireworks shows?
There's been a lot of negativity about us canceling the rodeo. But again, based on what we knew at the time, I don't think we had a choice. We had to do something to protect the citizens from being exposed to the COVID virus.
To Becker, the show couldn't end in a fizzle, especially after raising $19,000 for it.
We have a fundraising event in February. It's called the Boots and Buckles Ball, specifically to provide fireworks for the rodeo.
Now, Becker says unlike in years past when they've had 3 shows all set up at the nearby golf course, this year they'll have one big show with fireworks launching near that Quonset hut. And that way, the entire town can see the show from their yard.
We think it's important to celebrate the 4th of July. We just can't do it like we normally do because of the COVID problem.
This way, Becker adds social distancing will remain at the highest priority, as long as the weather cooperates, unlike how it behaved for us.
As long as the wind stays under 20 miles an hour, we should have a show.
Becker expects there to be about $25,000 worth of fireworks to launch. That'll make for a show that lasts anywhere between 45 minutes to nearly an hour. And while the gates normally restrict straining Cowboys and their bucking Broncos sit empty, Becker says that doesn't mean the end of Livingston patriotism.
We are the largest rodeo in the state of Montana by purse. We're big time here in Livingston for a small town.
In Livingston, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Well, the show is expected to start around 10:30 tomorrow night, but the Livingston Roundup Association says it would be a good idea to find a good spot at least 15 minutes in advance. This year's Miss Montana competition in Glendive is one of only 3 preliminary Miss America events in the nation that hasn't been canceled due to the coronavirus. Originally set for mid-June, Montana's scholarship competition is now rescheduled for July 23rd through the 25th in Glendive at the Dawson County High School Auditorium. Public Relations Director for the event tells Q2 that Dawson County health officials have approved their new safety plan, which includes seating in every other row of the 1,000-seat auditorium. 13 contestants are in the running to succeed Helena's Moshe as Miss America. The 2020 winner will represent Montana in the National Miss America contest next year. Wyoming and Arizona are the only other states moving forward with their scholarship competitions this year, given the National Miss America pageant is canceled. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks is asking the public to report any snapping turtles you may see in west central Montana. 2 years ago, a large snapping turtle was spotted in backwater, at Milltown State Park just east of Missoula. But so far, biologists have been unable to find the turtle. Common snapping turtles are native to Montana. They can be most commonly found in Yellowstone, Bighorn, and Powder River counties. However, they are not native west of the Continental Divide and likely end up in waterways through illegal releases. State biologists say right now they have the opportunity to remove the invasive species before it has a chance to establish itself.
Pond-dwelling organisms and the other species that live in backwaters and sloughs just aren't used to snapping turtles being around, and because of that, snapping turtles can have this really sort of disproportionately large impact on those species because they haven't figured out how to escape or at least be wary of snapping turtles being around.
So if you see a snapping turtle in west central Montana, you're asked to take a picture if possible and report it to the FWP. And we're told, don't pick up the large snapping turtles because their bites are brutal. Still to come on the MTN 9 o'clock news, a trip to the MVD, a nightmare for some, may become a little easier. We'll break down some of the changes. But first, Bob McGuire's in next with your 4th of July forecast.